Welcome back to Etc. Podcast. I'm your host, Victor, along with my co-host, Mark.
Yo.
How you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Good. Love to hear it, brother.
How are you?
I'm good, man. Finally back in the city. I touchdown yesterday morning.
Yes, sir.
Happy to be back. Honestly, not really happy to be back, but I feel like that's just the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Got back in the U.S. immediately, just couldn't stop sneezing. And I was just like, I ain't sneeze for a week in PR. I was like, none of this happened.
Yeah,
I was sick before when I was here. Left, I was cured. Just putting that out there.
Interesting. Yeah, when I got back from Mexico, yeah, it was just terrible because, like y'all heard before, I had bought these tequila bottles, and yeah, we were all good. Everything's great. We land back. Turns out one of them broke in the bag.
Damn.
Yep, hurt piece.
Did you lose like all of it, or did
it was one bottle? So we had.
But like, did it all spill, or just like a crack? Oh,
yeah, it all. So yeah, it was in Emily's bag, and it was just like, yeah, it was a bad.
Everything smelled like liquor.
Yeah, and then she ended up cutting her finger because she was trying to like take it out and ended up cutting her finger, and it was just bad. It got on some of the like souvenirs we got, and I was like, bro, I hate this city, bro. Like I was so annoyed. I was like, why is
was it carry on or was it under the plane?
Under the plane.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody, yeah.
I guess so, yeah. And like, I guess we just didn't have it really positioned right, so. But yeah, it was just terrible. Yeah, this city's bad luck.
Damn. But did you have anything that you wanted to talk about? Because I have a couple stories I want to share about my experience, and I don't want to take up the whole time unless you got something you want to get off your chest.
No, go ahead. I feel like I did the same thing with my stories.
All right, bet. So. I went on vacation with my family, you know, parents, siblings, something light, went to PR. Finally got to take my sister there because she had never been.
She's never been to PR.
And I've been there like 5 times.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. I could have sworn she's been at least like once or twice.
Never. Literally never.
That's insane.
Parents have gone. My brother used to go like every summer. I've gone a couple of times.
That's wow. But that's awesome though to experience it for the first time, you know.
Yeah.
Being older too, you know.
Yeah. Because when I went when I was like 7. And she was like 4 at the time. So my mom and parents were just like, she's staying. There's no point in a 4-year-old. She's not going to do anything. So
wait, what do you mean? You went by yourself?
I went with my grandma.
Okay.
Or my grandparents at that time.
Okay,
so
okay.
They still are my grandparents. I don't know why I said at that time. I cut them off. They got toxic.
I got some new grandparents.
So I went with them, but she was like really young at the time. So she stayed with my parents and I went and it was dope. And then I went by like as an adult, but like I went without my family like 2 years ago. And then since my sister graduated, they were just like, oh, like let's finally take her, you know, celebrate her graduating, getting her license and, you know, a bunch of other stuff. So we went. It was cool. We you know, usual shit. We actually left out of the airport in Jersey, not in Philly. So we had to drive up to Newark to go. And that was my first time at that airport. And that shit was fucking mayhem. It looks super nice compared to the Philly one. Like it's like really clean and like it looks more updated.
I've never been in the inside. I've just been on the outside because I've had to pick my mom up before.
Yeah.
That was about it though.
So we were in there and like just the only reason I'm mentioning this part because there's a brief story here where it's like we're in there and I just had to carry on and shit. So I was just like, I usually prefer to do that. I'm like, look, like I just check in. I don't gotta hand no shit off. Like I know where my bag's at. I get to just go past the
whole trip.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big carry-on.
No, I mean it's only you can only get a certain size carry-on.
Okay.
They limit you to a certain point, so it's the same as anybody else's. I just make it work. Because I don't like leaving like it just makes the shit. Airport's already stressful as it is. To add more steps, knowing that I don't have it's my own bag. I don't need a lot of shit. If I can make some shit up where I like can make different outfits with less clothes or some shit, like I'm gonna just do that and make sure my shit cool. Because even when you get there, you gotta wait for the shit to come out the belt. It's just a whole lot of shit. The less stress on me, the better. The happier I am. So I did that, and even I had room to take some I packed some shit for them because my family didn't have room, but they still had to push it under the plane. So we're doing all that, right? We're handing off the bags and printing out tickets and doing all this shit. Somehow I ended up, we're going to PR, so there's a lot of people in our section that were also going on the same plane. So I just ended up being working for the airport for a good 20 minutes because all these Hispanic grandmas was like, oh, can you help me? When that whole time I was trying to do it for my family, I was like, I'll help you if you let me use this machine after you, because there's a lot of people. So that was cool. So it's had mad hectic, you know, families all stressed out and shit. We're walking through there. We like handed our bags over, and we're making our way to like the TSA where you gotta like take your shoes off, get scanned and shit. So we're looking for our shit because like for different airlines, obviously you gotta do different parts. And this guy, have you ever heard of like, was it like TSA pre-check, whatever? It's basically something you pay for ahead of time where like you're to the side, you get to like pass all that shit basically.
Damn, I didn't know they had a fast pass.
Yeah, there is. And like it's worth it if you travel a lot. I'm thinking about doing it at one point if I ended up like doing it. But we were like walking past there and some guy was just like, you know, when people are late and they just act like it's everybody else's fault but their own. So he's walking through and this lady's like standing in line for TSA pre-check because she has it. And this guy's with his rolling backpack. He's like walking this way, but looking back. So he just trips over her bag so hard. Like, it's insane, bro. It's like 4 a.m. Like, we left early as fuck.
I forgot, yeah.
So we're standing going to our shit. And my mom starts walking off I'm like, no, like, it's this line. So I'm watching that.
Was it really busy?
Yeah, but it wasn't packed.
When I left, empty.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was a Saturday, too. Yeah, Saturday. And I was like, yo, there was nobody here.
Yeah, so we're standing there and we're making our way to our TSA line, but the guy's like zooming past us. And I watched this happen like in slow-mo, where he walks behind this lady, trips over her back because he's not looking where he's going. He tumbles forward.
Like a front flip? Like
yes.
Like a curtain.
You ever seen voguing? Like those videos where like people were like in dance halls just like listening to like house music and like fucking voguing and shit? He basically did that. Like he did the whole fucking like leg shit and everything. Kick up. He slipped out of his shoes. His sneakers. His tied sneakers. That's how hard he fell. And he fell and was like, shit. And then looked up at this lady like she pushed him. I was like, bro, like, you not looking where you going. How do you trip that hard? Are you not embarrassed right now? Like, just pick up your shit and keep moving. And it was so bad that he, like, stayed down for a bit. So, like, all these other, like, airport employees, like, ran over to him to pick him up. I'm like, yo, you're just making this worse for yourself. Like, pick yourself up, bro.
He was trying to get in before getting checked. He had something in his bag.
Yeah, I don't get that shit. So, that was the start. That was crack of dawn, sun not even out yet. That's how that shit started. So, we made it through whatever, got in our flight, and we landed fine. Like, everything was cool. You know, no turbulence.
Everybody did when the plane landed.
Unfortunately, they did, yes. Everybody started joining
no one did that on... I would say they did, actually. A few people did. And no one, but the whole plane didn't, so it was kind of awkward. But there was like this black family that was like...
Whoa. He's black. He's black. He's black, guys. He's black.
Relax. You see, it's a little... It might not seem like it. But it was this black family it was more like behind, but on the other aisle and to the left side. And I think they were the ones that were clapping when no one else was. And I was just like, damn, I felt bad. Cause I was like,
you ain't join in?
Nah, bro, because no one else was doing it. And I was like, damn, I don't want to be the oddball. But yeah, nobody did that. So, but I'm like, I feel like for some reason, every time when it's been to Puerto Rico, no matter what, every time you land, everyone claps on that plane.
Any like, I guess, people of color group goes land somewhere, I feel like that's a thing.
They know, like,
oh, thank God.
Right,
yeah, it's like that feeling. Like they're all terrified.
They know their life could probably end on this flight.
But yeah, the flight was cool, landed fine. So like I said, we left our house to go to the airport at 2 a.m. to get there at 4. And our flight was like at 6. Like it was all super early. So we landed, we just powered through. We're like, yo, we're fucking starving. Like, we need to get something to eat. So we pull up, get somewhere to eat. And then
Burger King?
No.
Because Puerto Rico,
yeah,
they got them Jones packed over there.
I know there's a lot of Burger Kings, Wendy's, a lot of Marco's Pizza, Subways, Subways out the ass, a lot of churches. But
Church is another one, yeah.
But yeah, so we get there and like my dad is the type like when he's excited, he's just like, yo, like we getting everything, like order one of those, like get some bottles, like he's that type. Like when he's excited or like he's like, yo, like he wanted to go there so bad. He's like, yo, like I want to go there and I want to eat, like I want to try different shit. Like so when we landed, he's like, yo, like we gonna anything with like that looks cool, like we're gonna stop and like grab some. So he's like, yo, I'm starving. We pull up at this fucking restaurant, disgusting, off rip. So we got off the plane, we're tired, like, yo, this food is so trash. We don't even feel like paying for this. Like, it's expensive too. So we were upset. It was like a tourist trap. But I was like, yo, guys, I was like, it's all good. I was like, we got it out the way. I was like, the rest of the trip, we're good. We want to be eating. And that's exactly what happened. Everything else was popping. I was like, now that we got it out the way, it's only up from here. So we ate that shit. We were bitter as fuck about it. It's like, yo, we low key, we want to go eat somewhere else or whatever. But then we're walking past, and my dad's like, yo, like, let's stop here in this place called Mojito Lab.
Hey,
right? So he's like, you want something? I'm like, no, thank you. I didn't say no. Like I said, no, thank you.
No.
I said no, thank you.
You asked me that.
I said no, thank you. So he walks off. My sister's like, yeah, I want one. And my dad's just like on go mode where he's just like, yo, fuck it.
Order 5.
So he goes over there and he's like, oh, the guy hands us like little cups to sample it. And I'm like, all right, like I'll try it. You know what I mean? Cause I don't, you know, they fucking serve shit. I'm like, I'm not gonna drink all that. But he's like, yo, like just at least try it to see what flavor you would want or whatever it may be. So I tried 2 and it was like a Parcha one and the other one, I forget what the fuck he said. The music was blasted. I couldn't hear him. So I was like, oh, like I like the Parcha one better. But I was like, I still don't want one. And I turn around, my dad fucking gets me one. So I'm like, all right, cool. And he got one for me, one for my sister. My sister took like a sip. She was like, this is strong as fuck. I can't drink this. So I'm telling her, I'm like, all right, like, you know, just sip on it or like we'll get rid of it or give it to dad or whatever. But we rented a car, so it was like we're driving. So my dad's driving, and then
You sure you should be driving?
That's what I'm saying. So I wasn't driving, but he didn't have any. But,
okay. I thought he had some.
No.
I was so excited.
No, he got one for me and my sister, but he was driving. He was just like, but I was like, if you don't want it, like give it to mom or like I don't know, like we'll figure something out. But we're walking back to the car, like I'm sipping on it, he's paying for it, and I'm just like, hey, like it's filled to the brim and there's no lid or nothing. I was like, hey, like drink a little bit because when you get in the car, like it's gonna be bumpy as shit. Like I don't want you spilling it all over yourself or anything like that. Like that would suck. And she was like, I can't. And I was like, all right, well, I have to like get this shit down because we're in a Jeep. Puerto Rico streets, some parts are way better than Philly. But then if you get to like back roads, it gets bumpy as shit.
It's all dirt.
So I'm drinking this shit and I drank it fast. And then by the time I got it down, I was like, I drank this way too fast, bro. You have no idea. I'm in the back of the car and I'm like panicking. Bro, like it was like I was cool and then like I was like, oh my. Mind you, bro, I told you we landed early. This is still early as fuck in the day. I was like, I'm way too drunk for it to be this time right now. And they're driving. My sister had like a quarter of it. She's asleep next to me. Dead ass.
I'm dead.
So I like killed most of it and I was like, yo, like I'm way too drunk right now. I'm fucked up. Like I'm like, if I drink anymore, I'm gonna be blackout. Like that's how bad it was. Mind you, I also barely ate because I was flying and I was up. All I have is like a fucking not Nature Valley, fucking Quaker's granola bar that they gave me on the plane. So I'm like, yo, I need to stop right now. I was like, I need to breathe and like figure this shit out. So I'm not asleep. I'm not like fucking like tossed out. I'm like sitting in the car just like chilling, breathing. I'm literally just like, yo, like just, I'm like, Victor, I'm in my head, I'm like, Victor, focus. You can get out of this. Like, don't be too fucked up around your parents. Don't say anything like, because when you're drunk, you get fucking loose. You know, I don't want to say nothing drunk.
It's like, relax. Yo, one time I slept on this. Like, whoa, Victor, that's not the plan.
But yeah, so I was just focused on that and I'm dead silent and we're driving somewhere and like my sister or my mom and my dad are like talking back and forth like, yeah, like let's go do this or whatever, just planning shit. And then my mom, just being my mom, she's like, she notices I haven't talked in like a half hour. So, and the whole time, anything that I have said is be like, okay, Like I've just been keeping it to that to avoid anything. And she's like, Vic, you okay? And I'm like, I'm way too drunk right now. And everybody in the car just starts dying. And I downed like 3 bottles of water. And when I tell you, we stopped to pee like 4 times for me. We were driving to like our place and I stopped one spot. I was like, yo, I really have to go. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe 5 minutes passed. I was like, guys, I need to pee again. And like, these aren't like little pisses. These are like, I'm drunk, like 2 to 3 minute pisses of just nonstop flow. Yes.
Holding that wall, bro.
So I stopped at some random restaurant. I was like, please, can I just use your bathroom? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, as long as you take one of our drinks.
I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So I peed in the first one. It was cool. Then I went to this other spot. We were like driving on our way. It was like some side restaurant. And it wasn't even like really open yet. But I just walked in. Like, and I seen people in the back and I seen people in the kitchen. I'm like, and nobody's out front. So I just peeked my head into the kitchen. I'm like, yo, bro, can I use the kitchen? Or can I use the bathroom? So he's like, yeah. The code's like this and that. So I use it. We leave. We go somewhere else. 10 minutes pass, like, yo, I gotta pee again. So we're going on our way back. So I passed the restaurant again. They're open now. I walked through. Guy's like, what's up? Like, can I help you? I was like, can I pee? He's like, you gotta buy something. And I just left. So I was like, and then we stopped this random garage. And it was like, yeah, just pee. Go ahead, pee here. And it was like a toilet. Bro, it was a toilet with no door, no nothing. I just met these guys. I'm peeing. Leave again. 5 minutes pass. Again. Stop at a Marco's Pizza. And I just asked this girl at the restaurant, can I use it? And she let me use it. Then at that point, I finally felt, I was like, all right, I'm cool now. Like, at 4 pisses later and like 3 bottles of water. Yeah. And I didn't drink anything else for the rest of the trip. I did not like that at all. I was like, I'm cool. I can't be this fucked up around my parents. But
I would have been lit.
Yeah. It was a good ass time. We went to like a bunch of beaches. And ate at a bunch of restaurants, stopped at some places. Some places had live music. It was cool. One of the more dope things that we did was actually like the day before we left. Tuesday morning, we went like on a horseback ride up like the mountains and shit. I just want to say, for anybody that's like, oh, like I love horses, I get it now. I rode a horse once. I was like, yo, I want a fucking horse. I was like, this is the dopest shit ever. I was like, I want my own personal horse. We rode a horse. I rode that horse for an hour. Nice. Shit was dope. It was so fire. I'm like, yo, I need to own a horse now. Like, I'm like, you know, it's like, oh, like a horse girl. I'm a horse girl now. Like, I love horses. It's just fire. Have you ridden a horse?
I haven't.
Highly recommend it.
I was just, to me, I just felt like I was like, I don't know what I would do. So that's why I was just like,
it's literally, it was literally just like a, cause you know, like El Yunque, like the mountains in Puerto Rico, or whatever. Yeah. It was going through that. So it was basically like, you know, sightseeing, but like on a horse. And you got to, like, I rode it by myself. Like they just give you the rein, they tell you what to do. And like, I was controlling it and shit. And I was like, and it's just, yeah, bro. I was like, yeah. I was like, yo, this is fucking dope, bro. I was like, I never thought I would love this much. And then there's people, I mean, it's a thing even in Philly too, but like in PR, like there's people that own horses and they just around their neighborhood will ride the horse. I'm like, yo, I would do this every day, bro.
Imagine.
like,
oh, look at you stuck in traffic. Ha, couldn't be me.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, Secretariat. But yeah, it was dope. And then they explained it to you, and my horse, they told me when they did like the little walkthrough, it was like, oh, like this is what you need to do, you know, make sure you keep your feet here, da 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 da. And it was like, yeah, like all the horses, they had like a little name tag thing, or like a little, they had like, what was it called, like side blinders, and on there they had the names on them. Mine didn't have that. So the boy that helped me like set up my horse, he was like, yo, like your horse's name is
Leandre.
No, it was Lisa. So I was like, cool, it's Lisa. So I'm riding even better, before we start. So they're like, hook you up, give you your helmet, and they're like, yo, just walk your horse over here, and then we're all gonna leave like as a group. So I'm like, bet. So I get on the horse, and I'm like, and I get to like the little corner, and it pulls me up next to this girl, right? She was a little cute, I'm not gonna lie. So my horse was like persistent on like getting me next to her. So I'm like, all right.
Lisa
cool. Lisa was trying to get next to another horse, but Lisa was hungry. Lisa just started eating off the trees and shit. I'm like, bro, you drawn. But Lisa pulled me up right behind the girl. Girl's horse farted in my mitt. Like immediately. It was just like not even. And she turned looking back at me. I'm like, don't look at me. I'm like, it was your horse. Like, don't do that to me. Like, oh. So that horse name was Bayo. Bayo farted in my horse's mitt, and my mitt were like, what the hell? So then my horse moved up, start eating some trees. She's like, yeah, it's hungry. I'm like, yeah, you should keep fucking farting. I'm like, what the hell is his problem? So we're like, yeah, we're laughing, whatever, cooling. Then we actually leave on the trip. Start walking. I'm like a half hour in. I'm like, yeah, like, this is my horse. The instructor, one of the instructors came by, like the guys, whatever, was like, oh, you cool? Like, everything cool with the horse? I'm like, yeah, everything's cool. And he was like, yeah, that's Sally. I'm like, I thought this was Lisa. He was like, nah. I'm like, Bull told me this was Sally. He was like, nah, Lisa's Sally's sister. The reason you know that it's Sally, because Sally got a mark on her leg.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, she got a whack. I'm like, yo, relax, bro. You need to take some time away from these horses, bro.
So I'm like, bro, Bull lied to me, or he didn't know no better. So I'm like, all right, whatever, then it's Sally then. So we walking, and the John that I was talking about, she was like with her family. It was like her pops or whatever. And I'm like, oh, like this, you know, I'm with my family. The whole time, I'm like, I'm not going to spend no game to nobody. I'm like, I'm a family.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. So I'm walking, and like, I talked to her like briefly, but then I guess her pop heard me talking to her. So he turned around and was like, oh, like, what are you? Like, are you Argentinian? I guess he was like, if you're Argentinian, you could talk to my daughter, but if you're not going to talk to my daughter. So he's like, are you Argentinian? Yeah. He didn't say that, but he was like, oh, are you Argentinian? And I was just like, nah, or not even. He asked me, are you Argentinian? And I didn't hear him. I was, excuse me. He was like, are you Argentinian? Girl, she was like, no, he's not. I'm like, I didn't even tell you what I was.
So you already decided where this was
you
going?
You put in labels on me?
You basically already decided how this conversation was going to go?
So I'm talking to him. I'm like, yeah, like, he was like, oh, we're from Miami. Like, we're Argentinian. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, Messi, you know, he just went there. He's Argentinian. How y'all feel about that? But we walk in, his horse's name is Raptor. So he's talking, chopping it up, whatever. He's like, y'all, like, I want to move here so bad. And I was just like, do it, bro. But he starts walking in front of me. Fucking,
like, are you Puerto Rican? You can't move here. You can't move here.
fucking Raptor farts in my face again. And he shits and pisses. I'm like, what the hell is this family's deal? I'm like, the dad and the daughter. Then we're like laughing about that shit. And then the girl's horse keep bumping into me. She's like, oh my God, like my horse keep bumping into you. I'm like, it's cool as long as they stop farting at me. And then we just start laughing. Whole time too. And then I was like, all right, cool. Like, she with the family, whatever, that's dope. And then she looked literally like our age, but I forget sometimes that like that don't matter no more because we're old as fuck. But the little kid that I thought was like her little brother, he was like, mommy. I'm like, oh shit, that's your son.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything clicked now.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So she was like, yes, honey. I'm like, oh shit, like that's your child. I'm like,
yeah, you definitely right. I'm not Argentine.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go right back.
But yeah, like everybody, then at some point in the ride, like everybody's fucking horses start shitting and pissing. I'm like, all y'all people shitting and pissing. My horse not shitting and pissing. Then she starts shitting and pissing.
Yeah, bro.
Out of pocket.
Yeah, I dropped the load halfway through the ride.
But it was a beautiful ride, bro. And like you got to see everything. And in my mind, I know it's not true, but I feel as though like every horse is like that. And I feel like that's not the case. Like my horse was so calm. Everybody like on the drum, like even my parents, like other people, like, yo, like your horse, like you got like the fucking prettiest horse. I'm like, fucking right. Me and Sally all day / Lisa.
Let's go.
But I was like, in my head, I'm like, yo, all the horses must behave like this. When in reality, they most likely don't. I'm like, a lot of them probably assholes. And these are just really well-trained horses. But I was like, I still want a horse. I was just fire. So I want a horse. End of the story. So if you want to think about what you want to give me for my birthday, horse.
Bro, go in the backyard.
No way. Sally.
Right? I freaking get her
in.
Freaking got her on a boat over here. I was like, yep. She came all the way from the mountains, bro.
But yeah, that was another thing. And then that same afternoon, we like went up El Yunque too, like just to like do the fucking swings and like jump down waterfalls and shit. And shit was fire. I got videos of that. Nice. Shit was a little scary. I ain't bring the proper footwear. I had like not these, but like the bottoms were similar to these. And I was slipping on rocks and shit, but I was still jumping off of like little waterfalls and cliffs. I'm like, this shit is slippery as fuck and not safe. Everybody had water shoes on. I'm like, whack. So I was like, I got my fucking sneakers on. Fucking bad call. I need like hiking shoes for that shit next time.
Yeah. So weird. That's awesome. Did you do anything else besides that, or was it just...
Those were like the two like big excursion type things where like we paid for like a guide and shit. The rest of the time we were just like going to see like where my dad grew up, or like just driving up the mountains, or like going to different beaches. We went to this one beach, or like one area called Crash Boat. It's a beach. Like the beach's name is Crash Boat. No boats crashed. I was disappointed.
I was gonna say, is there like a boat to the side that's like kind of crashed?
Nah, I was looking for all of that. Nothing. The beach was hella calm. It was a place where like they had, you know, you could park up your boat and like you could have your jet skis there.
Crash your boat.
Yeah. So that was dope. And like, you know, people had music, or like, you know, people were hopping on, you know, like boat parties and shit. So that was a cool little vibe. And like, yeah, it was fire. Mad hot. It was like the day before 4th of July. It was mad hot that day.
Yeah.
And at one point, these random bulls on like a small boat pulled up. And I was just like, are y'all like in my head immediately, I was like, these guys are like transporting people from like DR or something. I was like, that was my first thought. I'm like, they just like, oh, like for $20, we will transport you from DR to back or some shit. But they actually were like fishermen. So they pulled up and I guess they were trying to like dock, but they had a small ass boat with like a motor. Out of nowhere, bro, like, you know how beaches are? You have people set up on blankets and umbrellas and shit close to the water. Bro, that fucking boat pulled up and like was squaring off. I was like, all right, where I'm about to do this at? And just said, wah, and just fucking went onto the sand. Like, bro, no lie, like the boat, like say I'm on my blanket at the beach right now, that camera's the boat. Like it stopped right there. Like, and there were families like right here. I'm like, yo, how are you so comfortable with doing that? But they had hella fish and it was just like, not like fucking right, like goldfish. It was like fucking like
big fish,
crazy shit, and it was full of them. And they were like, "Yo, like we had like way more, but there was a shark on us, and we had to give out like half of it just to get it to leave us alone."
I gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not getting in these waters no more.
and that shit's wild. But that water was mad calm compared to others. There was like 3 beaches we went to in the same day in the same area that was like whooping our ass. Like I was all right because like I'm
What
like
you mean by that?
I'm like because I know how to swim and shit. But like my sister and my mom, they aren't as strong. I mean, they just don't know how to swim. They were getting like the waves were like knocking them down and shit to the point where like my sister was like, I'm cool. Like I'm gonna just sit at the chair, like just chill. Even my dad, who knows how to swim, he's like, yo, this shit is brutal. Like you can't even enjoy the waters for real because it was just nonstop, just getting hit. But yeah, food was fire. Great time. I told myself, I was like, at least at some point I will for sure own property there. One. But I was like, I want to at least try to live there for like a year, like once or something, just to like, one, just better learn the language and like at least build out something there. Cause like the place we stayed at was awesome, bro. Like it was Airbnb. It was like an apartment out of like a bigger building. Like it was like 3 or 4 units there. But the backyard was like big as fuck. And it just had like every fucking fruit you can imagine growing there. I'm just like, yo, like this is how how shit is supposed to be. Like,
true. Get your land. Get your crops.
Eat off it, and you just chilling. Like, she put us on game to all this shit. She's like, yo, if you got this, just drink this or eat this. And she was like the type of person like knew all that shit, like the teas and shit or whatever. Like, she grew all that shit back there. She just like put it on. I'm like, this is fire. I was like, I want to live here so bad. Then I went to this. We randomly pulled over to this bar / restaurant thing. They was playing live music, doing fucking dancing and shit. And I was like, yo, like I got goosebumps. And I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. Like, this is what I want to be around. Like, this is my fucking culture, my heritage, my blood and shit. Y'all all look like my cousins. Son. Hug me.
We here, let's dance.
Yeah, like, and everybody's so nice and like so happy. Like, you know what I mean? It's just such a different vibe from the US where it's like you're not that. Like, I don't, because I'm an asshole too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a part of it.
I feel that.
But it's just like, it's just a different way of thinking. I mean, it's just island life. Cause like one thing that my dad used to say was just like everybody, or like like they would just say about PR, cause my dad lived there and basically until he was like 16, 17. And he was like, everybody just moves so slow. And so I was like, bro, you're living on an island. It's like island life. Like shit's very calm compared to over here, where it's just like in the US, it's always just like grind culture 24/7. And that's just draining as fuck. And like, yeah, in my mind, I'm like that as well, where it's like, oh, I want to like, you know, build wealth for my kids or like build a life and like have a successful career, whatever it may be. Like I'm here, so I have that same mindset.
Yeah.
But at least for me, as I get older, I'm just realizing like that shit is not like what it's about. For like, you could work your life away. Like I could be the type to be like, all right, I'm gonna work fucking 80 hours every fucking week until I die. It's like, yeah, cool, you grinding, but like you clocking in and clocking out, going to sleep and doing that shit over again. Like that's not a quality life.
Nope. Yeah.
Where over there, it's like a whole completely different mindset where it's just like, you go to like McDonald's or like any small bakery or anything, they're working their job and maybe they're making shit pay, especially over there because like the wages are different. But they're laughing, joking, and like being cool as fucking like hospital is fucking treating you like family regardless of what it is. As long as you treat them right, they'll treat you right. Mm-hmm. Where that's not the case here, where everybody's so stressed out and like dealing with so much all the time, just trying to like make ends meet and just everything else that they might have going on in their life, that everybody's so bitter a lot of the time. And it's a breath of fresh air when you have that one encounter, that person's like, oh my God, they're so nice. Like, despite how shitty they get treated.
Yeah. I've always said specifically like Hispanics, for some reason, I just feel like are usually for the most part always laughing. You know,
yeah.
they're always having
making
fun.
A joke out of some shit.
And again, it sucks for me because again, like me not knowing Spanish, it sucks. But like literally whenever I hear people that like for the most part only speak Spanish, whenever they talk or they just have a conversation, I feel like no matter what, they're always laughing. It could be something so serious. Somehow there's a joke in there. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here like, what is going on? And now that you say that, it's just funny because like now I see why when I was in Mexico and the whole power shut off in the whole hotel, people were just kind of coming there. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, I need a shit. Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, so it's going to come back on soon. And
they're used to it. It's just, it is what it is. And at the same time, you're in a fucking paradise. Like, how are you going to be mad that like you're like a half hour from a world-class beach where the water's crystal clear and the weather's like, it's hot, but it's still like, you know, you deal with it. You're used to it as well, or like, you know, you manage. And like, yeah, like Puerto Rico has its problems where it's just, you know, power outages, and you know they're not getting the same support as like a U.S. state does, and there's, you know, they're basically getting treated as like a second class state or a citizen or something like that in a way, where they're just not getting the respect that they should be getting as a nation. But we can go all day about that. Yeah, so it's not a perfect place by any means, but it's just the mindset is like you can either think about it as, or think of yourself as a victim, or, you know, just make the most out of your situation. So and that's one of the things that I was like, yeah, like I know if I were to move here, it wouldn't be all fucking peaches like all the fucking time, but at least I'd be a little bit more where it's just like, all right, at least I know I'm near family. I'm on a fucking island with beaches and all this other shit. And horses, especially the horses. And I live in a time now where I could work from home or like work from anywhere in the world in a way, and I have the opportunity to do that. I was like, yo, like, why not? You know what I mean?
Like, no bullshit. If I was able to get a job where I could just work from home, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm just gonna move somewhere and just like, if I can keep that job, like, yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. So that was my Puerto Rico experience. I'm hoping to go again maybe next year, or again. We gotta do Puerto Rico, even though we already have our trip next month. If we can, we ride on horses.
All right. It's just gonna show us the way.
I'm like, look, I already know what I gotta do, and I just get fucking knocked on my ass.
She's like, you just gotta look at him right in the eye. Just be like, look, I'm gonna take care of you. Nah. I'm like, oh, this man's a horse whisperer now.
Nah, that shows, because even then when we were getting like instructed on everything, they were like, yo, whatever you do, like these horses have blinders on, do not walk behind them. Like if they feel something, they can't see you, they're gonna kick. You know what I mean? They're gonna protect themselves. And they went through that whole walkthrough. Immediately, as we were like, all right, like they calling people one by one to their horse, my mom goes and we see her like walk by the one, but we're like, no. Oh, don't walk behind the horse. Oh, and she's just like, what? I'm like, go the long way, please. We haven't even started yet.
She's about to get clocked.
I was like, please do not do that. But yeah, bro. It's a beautiful thing. We're gonna travel again together next month, which for the first time we're gonna all travel together. It's gonna be an exciting thing.
I hope Quentin can just, you know, behave and keep his temper down. You know how he gets when he's around us for too long.
Yeah. Even though he claims it's us.
Exactly. Like
he's like,
we'll be chilling.
He was like, yo, like it's crazy how we all, but like when we hang around each other for time, we all start to hate each other. I'm like, bro, that's just you.
Yeah, like you just pick fights for no reason.
You hate us.
I don't
and you
know
don't want to say it. So. But no, I mean, it's 5 days. We can manage.
Yeah.
2 days of travel. It's gonna be first time we're traveling with an airport. I already know I'm gonna have to like be with him through all this shit, because he's gonna be stressing. I could feel it in my bones. Yeah. You're gonna be stressed out through that whole time, like just getting there, especially because they have layover too.
One little thing goes wrong. It's like, bro, what happened, bro?
Like, yo, that's what happened when he went to go apply for a passport. Did he tell you what happened?
I mean, I remember, I heard some of the conversation the one time we were talking about it.
He went and like he ran into some problem. Like I'm not gonna like divulge into what it was, but his initial way, like instead of just telling me exactly what happened, he was like, bro, we run into a big problem. I'm like, what's the problem? My passport. What about it? Like he just starts telling me. I'm just like, bro, just do this. He's like, oh yeah, you're right. I was like, oh, like just ask the lady this. He's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like don't think it's the end of the world. Yeah, like think about plan B and shit. Like,
yeah.
So I'm already, but just off of that alone, I'm already anticipating like the airport date when we go in there and like have to do all that shit. But it'll be fun. We're gonna make memories and shit. We're gonna make it back in one piece. But that's our time today. We're going for over a half hour now, so we try to wrap shit up. I was gonna say thank you guys for 1,400 subs. We're already like on our way, moving past all of that. Much appreciating the love on the videos and everything. Likes, comments. We got some requests for some zombie maps, so I think I sent it your way. If not, I will send it your way.
See them.
And there's some dope ones too, because Noah's like doing like a contest this month or some shit.
Yeah,
like a movie contest.
I was gonna send you that one too, but I just wanted to make sure we had enough time to do it and stuff like that. But yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, so he like announced a contest, and then I didn't even know that part until I went to Steam Workshop to look for maps, and I was like, what's all these movie maps? And they were like, oh, like they're all a part of the same contest. I was like, oh, these are all look really dope though.
Yeah, I saw the video, and when I was going through it, because I thought it was gonna be something, because I know for us, like I would like to play like maps that have like a really crazy Easter egg, but then I also know it's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I like to do ones that are just going to be like pretty quick.
One knockout.
Easy. Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, let me just see. It's probably going to be some crazy, crazy in depth like Easter egg. So I'm like, it'd be chill to like watch. I don't care. Once I saw it and I was like, saw what the concept of it, I immediately was like, all right, I'm turning this off. I was like, I'm going to save this for us when we actually do it. I don't want to get spoiled.
So yeah, so we'll get into some of those. We got some. I sent a lot of stuff over like when I got back, like in terms of games and stuff. So I was like, we have plenty of stuff to work with. So, anything you want to say before we get out of here, sir?
No, just like Vic said, thank you for all the support and love. Grinding, and we're gonna keep going. So stay tuned, stick with us. And yeah, just be safe out there. Go ride a horse.
Yes.
If you can.
If you have a horse, hit us up.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, sir. Deuces.